Welcome along to obviously Fight Talk episode 43. We got it right this time. And we're coming live from my house instead of Whiskey Fair. We actually have a little bit of an announcement. We might as well get it out of the way before we continue. Whiskey Fair is no more. We're going to be moving away. We don't know where we're going to be moving. We have some ideas. Everyone's crying. But we will be moving. We'll get a new spot. It won't be here all the time, but maybe for the next couple of weeks we might have to do it from here, but we'll see. But that's not important. What's important tonight is we're going to talk about MMA. We're going to talk about UFC 205, all the fallout, all the fights. Huge for Irish MMA. A huge win by Conor McGregor. We're going to talk about the quickfire news. Miesha Tate retired. We're talking about everything else, and we don't have a list. We were going to have a list, but we don't anymore. So I'm joined as always by Mr. Carl Doran.
What's the
Dirty
crack, lads?
Carl Doran.
Yeah.
And we're joined as well on the Skype machine by Noel O'Keefe. He gives a little thumbs up. And back is Mr. Daniel Movahedi. How's it going, Dan?
How we doing, gents? I'm good, thank you. Good to be back.
So we might as well jump straight into the quickfire news, and I'm going to try and get the bell up here, but because I'm reading it off this, it's going to be difficult, but we're going to go for it. First up on the quickfire news, after all the build-up and non-injuries leading up to the dream UFC 205 card, we lost two bouts. First, we lost Tim Kennedy and Rashad Evans due to medical issues for Rashad, and then on the weigh-in day, after Donald Cerrone had successfully weighed in, rumours grew of Kelvin Gastelum not being on weight, and this was confirmed that the fight was pulled. So, what?
Wanker.
That's the bell.
That's the bell.
There we go.
There we go. So, Kelvin Gastelum missed weight again.
Yeah, man, get a new job. You know what I mean? Or fucking man up and get up to 185. That's the way it looks to me. Like, what an opportunity. Like, don't get me wrong, we know Gastelum has done this previously, but like, this is the most historic card in UFC history, and he made an absolute mess of himself. And the only thing I can see standing for him here is new ownership in the UFC, that maybe Dana White doesn't have the full blast and can lash him out the way he wants. But I think if this was the Fertitas and Dana White at the head of the helm, I think he would have got his walking papers already.
I'd probably have to be in agreement with you now. I believe it's the fourth time Kelvin's missed
I thought
weight.
he was already told he wasn't going to be fighting at 170 again, no?
No, so what happened was the third time he missed weight, Dana told him, you're not fighting at 170 anymore. You have to go to 185 and basically prove yourself that you can make weight there, which he done for one fight, I believe.
Yeah, one.
And then his immediate next fight was at 170. And then since then he missed this fight, I believe was by 10 pounds, according to some people.
Did he turn up to the weigh-in?
No.
Did he even turn
never
up?
weighed in,
No,
no.
he didn't
I
weigh
don't
in.
even think he turned up. No, he tweeted.
Yeah, I saw the tweet.
Apparently, according to, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast this morning with Brendan Shaw. Apparently, Kelvin Gastelum put up a picture a week or 2 weeks before of himself out eating a proper Mexican dinner with, you know, tortilla wraps and everything else that comes with that.
Honestly, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's poor. That's very poor, if that's the
Yeah.
case.
And the thing is, for me, for like the way I see it, I mean, even if he was fighting at 170, he would still be a contention of maybe possibly getting to the top, you know, top five possibly, the way he fights. But at 185 middleweight,
Yeah.
he's just going to be either a gatekeeper or I mean, I hope he proves us wrong and proves everyone wrong. You know, the crazy sport that we're in, but. Just sometimes you think, why would you do it to yourself? Like, you knew you had a fight coming up, for me, I'd rather someone turn up to the weigh-ins and weigh over, and actually turn up to the weigh-ins and go, look, I'm really sorry, man to man, face to face, and go, look, let's sort something out. But I believe that even at a catch weight, I think the commission would only allow 5 pounds over the weight limit, which is
The worst part about it is, for me, Dan, sorry for interrupting you, the worst part for me was the disrespect that shows Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Like, the bad thing about it is the same with Jim Miller. If Jim Miller had weighed in first, that fight wouldn't have happened. It was because Thiago Alves went in first and was overweight that Jim Miller was allowed to come in overweight to make the fight. So, out of respect for the Cowboy, Gastelum should have stuck up.
There's the bell.
There's the bell. No, by the way, your mic isn't great. Just so you know. Your mic isn't great.
Mic.
Yeah, it's a bit off. It's a bit rattly or something.
Bit rappy.
Rattly or something, isn't it? It's like fuzzy. It's cool.
It must be against that beard.
Yeah, it must. Yeah, it sounds like you're shaving. That's what it sounds like. But it doesn't matter.
It just sounds fed up.
On to the next piece of news.
As
Ronda Rousey.
Conor would say, he don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. He wants to apologise.
For absolutely fucking nothing.
On the next piece of news, Ronda Rousey squared off against Amanda Nunes at the UFC 205 weigh-ins and looked forced to storm off the cage once the face-off was complete. But Dana White confirmed that this was not the case, and the intent was for the fighters only to square off and not speak to the media, so his people messed up. Like usually the UFC don't really mess up these type of things. They're usually pretty good.
Bell. We need the bell.
We need the bell, yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually they don't mess up, but yeah, they messed up on this occasion.
Like
Ronda didn't look like she was very happy with what happened. And fuck off, I'm doing everything here.
We're using the poor guy's house as a studio, man.
I know, for fuck's sake.
Fucking shite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronda didn't look happy.
No.
I wonder, was this Dana trying to protect Ronda, or was this like did this genuinely happen?
Well, I think he tried to protect her as well. It seems like she doesn't really want to speak to MMA media anyway. She wants to go on like Ellen and all that stuff.
There's a lot of people in MMA media complaining about it, including a lot of the big boys. You know, MMA fighting. I know Ariel Helwani has spoken out about it a lot. He's not very happy with it, and that Ronda has actually, I believe she actively said to Ariel that to speak to him.
Because she's not going to be asked the hard questions by like Conan or Ellen. Like, she's not going to be asked, oh, what went wrong in the fight. She's going to be asked like, oh, you're going to come back, all this stuff. So you can see why she's doing it, and if you can stay away. Can
I just say one thing? Do you know what the funny thing is you see women in tennis, and tennis is just an example because they're probably the biggest other leading female sport on the planet would be tennis, and the women are always being asked softball questions, by media like, where did you get your dress or whatever, like they're always, but they're asked, very, I suppose it'd really be sexist questions, whereas in MMA,
I'm getting nervous where
no.
Yeah,
He's fucking shitting himself.
You can tell by Carly, it's not coming. It's not a joke.
No, I have a legit point here. Women in mixed martial arts, when it comes to the media, they're asked the proper questions. Ronda, in some senses, is doing herself a disservice by going to the proper mainstream media, because they're gonna ask her those softball questions. They're going to ask her about her outfit and, who is she dating and all this sort of stuff. Whereas when she goes to someone like Ariel or Luke
Travis
Thomas, fuck him. If they're going to be asked, like, if she goes to MMA media, she'd be asked about her career and her actual fights, not about where did she get her nails done and who done her vajazzle for her.
I knew that.
No, but on that note, again, like you said, she's doing herself a disservice. So you know what? If that's the way she wants to be, then let the media pay their attention to the champion. She's out of the attention. Then just let her be, and it is what it is. Was she at the event on Saturday?
She wasn't shown on camera.
I didn't see no camera pans.
Showering. Anyway, My 2 cents on that. Is my mic any better now? I'm on mic.
Much better.
My 2 cents on it would be, I think Ronda still has a bit of a chip on her shoulder. I don't think the way when she got knocked out by Holly Holm, I don't think she liked the media. But at the end of the day, the media is a tightrope walk for anyone. Like, you look at Conor, like, they're all praising Conor after the weekend and everything, and some are calling him pound for pound #1 and everything. If Conor had lost that fight, they would have been slating him. You know what I mean? So it's a tightrope walk. So if you have to be willing to get hit by the wave rather than ride the wave when it goes against you. And I just think she's holding a few sour grapes towards the media, as you correctly said, Carl, before you went on about vajazzles, was they'll ask the hard questions, but they'll also report you got knocked the fuck out you got knocked the fuck out.
And but Ronda as well.
Learn to live with that.
Yeah, Ronda seems like a really emotional person, just in general. Like, if you I didn't read her book, but I read little bits from it, how she got really depressed after coming second in the Olympics and stuff. So She seems to be a pretty emotional person. But that's the time. Give me 1 second. The next piece of news is Dana White has said that John Jones. Okay, Noel wrote this, so it's a bit all over the place. Dana White said, "I would never take the risk of headlining a show with John Jones again. I'd put him on the card, but I wouldn't headline him until he consistently gets back on track." What's your thoughts on this? For me, it's
bell. Don't forget the bell.
For me, it's surprising that he's saying it because he's probably one of the bigger stars in the UFC. I understand where he's coming from, as in I understand that you can't really trust somebody who constantly gets pulled out of fights for whatever reason. But like, who are you going to put John Jones under? The only person you could really think of, or two people, would be a Ronda Rousey or a Conor McGregor if he's the champion. If he's not the champion, fair enough. But if he comes back and he wins the title, like, you have to headline him. You have to, like.
Oh yeah, that's if he wins the title. Yeah. But you're assuming he's going to get a title shot when he comes back.
Yeah.
John.
Well, he's got a year anyway.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
He got stripped from his title as well.
So he's back. He's back in July. Dan.
Okay.
So
okay.
Unless comes back,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
John Jones is nuts. Do you know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. He's an insanely talented guy, and he's an insanely talented fighter. But he's nuts.
Yeah.
So, how many chances does he need to get to do this? You know what I mean? Am I right in saying did he get stripped of the interim belt there?
He did,
well?
yeah. You're right. Yeah. And yet again, it's another, you know what I mean? another bump in the career of John Jones.
Being stripped, isn't it? So.
But to be fair though, the last thing that's happened to him was one of his supplements was tainted, right? It's not as if he knowingly knew it was in. Well, that's what they've done different tests of what he was taking.
Yeah,
am I right?
He took kind of. He just took something that he shouldn't have taken.
A teammate of his gave him basically a dick pill, which contains Cialis.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. I'm not going to pretend I know what it is. I just know it's banned.
So basically the jury was he didn't intentionally cheat, but he took something that he shouldn't have taken.
It was just
basically
negligent.
Okay,
pretty much.
Okay.
So yeah. Well,
in fairness to the UFC, all joking aside, they're sort of right because so many main events have fallen through from there. He's unreliable to them. Yeah. So in that aspect, you can see what Dana White's saying. Will he stick to it? Dana White says one thing, and 10 minutes later he'll say something else. So you can't take. And by the way, I said no wrote this, so it's little. That's a direct quote, motherfucker. But Dana White will change his mind 5 minutes later. So what he says now isn't going to come into play in a year when John Jones.
That's very true. Yeah. Might as well move on. Big button. Up next, Bellator. We're at the Aviva on Monday the 14th with James Gallagher, Anthony Taylor for a photo shoot. Was this all? Jesus, no. Do we think Bellator are looking at the possibility of holding a stadium show here in Ireland, and do we think it would sell?
Out. Yeah, would it sell? It's basically. What happened was, I don't know if you've seen it, was James Gallagher and what's his name, Anthony Taylor, were basically at the Aviva, and they were doing all, squaring off to one another and sort of talking trash to one another, and it was a little push and all that, and it was being filmed. Why are Bellator in the Aviva? You know what I mean? It's not being held in the Aviva, so why are they doing like a sort of a photo shoot, video shoot, whatever you want to call it there?
Nice location.
To me, that intrigued me. When I seen that yesterday on the Book of Face, I thought that's a little interesting. I said, I wonder, in Bellator have talked about they want to come over here, they want to open up to the market. So are they thinking about maybe doing the big stadium show? And Bellator, wherever they go, put their shows on at local times. Yeah. So it's a possibility.
It's definitely a possibility. I just don't know if Bellator is well known enough to do a stadium show here. I just don't think it would sell out. They were in the UK that time. What venue were they at? Was it the O2? And that was empty. It was by no means full. So I don't think they'd fill the Aviva. How many people does the Aviva hold?
Well, hello, Carl. You might remember when I was criticising it, a lot of the cards they put on that time were bullshit fights, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but the main event was Kimbo Slice,
Yeah, that's very true.
People tune in for Kimbo, though.
Well, yeah, I suppose he was one of the
draw. You stop saying that shit story, will you?
He did,
though. Let go of that shit story.
The tune in for Kimbo was proven. It was in the ratings.
Can't believe he called a dead man a shit story. Doesn't help that he's black-eyed or now, for fuck's sake.
There's the first edit of the program.
But I guess let me fucking steer the shit back in. I guess we've got to wait and see how it goes with the Bama and Bellator event on the 7th of December. See what the ratings are, not only just for when Bama card's on, but also for the Bellator card, and see what the ratings are and how they feel. Maybe that this is their plan as well. Of the reason maybe they merged with Bama. It could work for both parties, you know, and they might do a show again with Bama or Bellator might just do a show themselves. Who knows, you know? But I guess we have to wait and see.
My only concern with it would be, like, obviously James Gallagher's their Irish face here, and like I certainly think James Gallagher is going on to great things in MMA. But at the moment, I don't think James Gallagher is going to sell out the Aviva. No. I have no doubt I can see James with gold around his waist in a couple of years' time. But just at the moment, he's so young, and like people like us guys, we know who James Gallagher is, and they're starting to push him a lot more.
Yeah.
But I just don't think, you know, the Aviva's going to sell out.
No.
Potentially, even if they got James, you know, a Bellator title shot, you know, is it still going to sell?
Yeah, but you guys are going on about sellout stadiums, but we know it. And there's been plenty of shows I've seen on Bellator where it hasn't been sold out.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's all about TV ratings, isn't it?
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, they're backed by Viacom, who are there for entertainment. That's what it's about. And the same way as the company that's bought the UFC, they're in the entertainment business as well. So I'm not saying the UFC are not going to sell out the venues, etc. But that's why you're seeing all these super fights and the way they're pushing things. And I reckon that's what it's all going to be about. It's going to be about TV ratings, who can get the highest ratings, whether it be the biggest fights or the craziest fights or the fan fights, whatever it may be, you know. So, I mean, there's talk of Fedor fighting on Bellator soon. So that would be pretty cool if that ever happens.
Yeah. Moving on. Rumours. Cage Warriors Unplugged went down on Saturday before the historic UFC 205 card. Chris Fishgold defended his belt in a 5-round war. Carl Moore picked up a big win with a huge TKO, and unfortunately around Johnny Jitsu lost in the first round to Leroy Barnes via guillotine. But the real story of the night was Paddy the Baddy Pimblett versus Julian Erosa, where the Baddy...
Pimblett.
I said Pimblett. I didn't. I said Pimblett.
You said Pimblett.
I said Pimblett. Yeah, I said Pimblett. The Baddy picked up... we picked up a successful unanimous decision in a very controversial fight. So, there was we were talking about this. I watched this in passing, didn't actually watch it in full, but I didn't think it was a huge robbery. But a lot of people thought it was a huge robbery, as in you can see Noel's face. Noel, why do you think it was a huge robbery? Bell, don't forget the bell.
Yeah, this is more not a bell, Carl. good work.
I'll leave the bell.
I think that should be our new bell. Is me saying don't forget the bell.
Yeah.
Like watching the fight, lads, and you know I've been singing at you for a long time about Paddy Pimblett. I'm a big Paddy Pimblett fan, but watching that fight, there's no way Paddy was getting his hand up. For me, I could be wrong, Paddy might disagree with me, but the most surprised person when the result got called out, I thought was Paddy Pimblett. Like his arm shot up and he looked surprised. He almost got finished 3 times in the fight. He was put down, I think it was the second, the third, and then the fourth, the flying knee, and he was badly hurt. He literally spent, like, he was shooting in for takedowns, he was doing things, but it was Erosa who was controlling where the fight went when he took control. Paddy had his moments in it. He got into full mount, he got into good positions in it, but at the end of the day, the majority of the damage for me in that fight was Erosa. And when I was sitting here watching, sat exactly where I am now. The missus was beside me, and I had it on the computer going, this is Paddy Pimblett. I keep telling the lads about him. He's calling out Conor McGregor, doing all these types of things. And I was saying he's a great fighter, wait to see him. And she was sort of sitting watching and going, he doesn't look that great, because he was getting beaten up at the time. But, like, you know, that aside, in some ways it's going to be a huge fight for Paddy, because he's going to learn. He's already talking about changing his diet up. He's going to be doing certain things. But for me, watching it, no way he won that fight.
Well, for me, like,
Judge scored a 49-46.
I thought Rosa won, but just looking at the first 3 rounds, going out in first 3 rounds, I said I wouldn't be surprised if 3 judges or if 2 judges gave him them 3 rounds.
Yeah, but hold on, you got to remember, Rob, he was put down. I think it was the second round. He got knocked down the second round.
He got knocked down.
He was rocked hard. And then in the third round, just as you said that,
he got hit again.
With you here. Just as you said, Paddy Pimblett, that flying knee landed, and that nearly finished the fight.
Yeah, it hurt him. Yeah. Yeah, but as I said, I'm not saying that's how I scored. I thought Erosa won at least probably I think I might give Paddy the first round. I think, but the 2 and 3, it wouldn't surprise me if a judge gave them 2 rounds, because Paddy, for them 2 rounds, for I'd say 3.5 to 4 minutes, he was controlling most of it, and then he got dropped twice. So it depends what you're looking at there. I personally would have given it to Erosa, but it just didn't surprise me.
Gustafsson controlled the full round against John Jones. John Jones landed a spinning back elbow, nearly finished the fight. Yeah. The round got given to John Jones, even though Gustafsson controlled the fight.
Not disagreeing. I'm just saying I'm not surprised if a judge judged it that way. Not surprised at all. The way MMA judging is not surprising at all. It wasn't like when I seen if I seen the result, I knew Paddy won. I knew it was a bit controversial, but I wouldn't have said, "Oh my God, that's that's not on Leonard Garcia and Nan Fan levels." Like, as in, like, you have to be silly in the head to not score that. But just watching them 3 rounds, I can definitely see where a judge at cage side can say, "All right, yeah, I'll give him that." But I disagree with it. But I'm just saying I can definitely see them giving the rounds.
Oh, and then if you look as well, like, you look at social media after it as well there, like Peter Queally tweeted out something. I can't think of it word for word. If only we had the quote on a rundown of the show, for instance.
Give me a few minutes. Continue talking.
It says something like Boylan is the CEO or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's here. It is here. So Peter Queally tweeted, Boylan is the CEO of Cage Warriors and is also Pimblett and Fishgold's manager. Can someone smarter than me tell me if that is ethical or legal?
Nah,
and then I know Ken came back and said, I agreed. Now, I don't think it's illegal for that, but it's a completely valid point. It is a direct conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I would say it wasn't Graham Boylan who was judging, was it? You know, you got three top judges there. I know all 3 of them, and yeah, it was a close fight. My wife and I, we were down there firsthand watching it, and to be honest, we were sitting with all of Paddy's crowd. Even as you know, it was in the BT studio, so there's only a couple of 100 people in there, and the way it was set up. Whether that had an influence on the judges, I don't know. But watching the fight, yeah, it could have gone. I mean, I thought Juicy J is his nickname. I thought he held back. If anything, he could have finished that fight sooner rather than making it go to a decision, you know. But, you know, Paddy done well to hold in. Again, I'm not a judge. I'm watching it as a fan, you know. I'm watching what his fans are shouting out or what they were saying, what his sister was doing next to us, what they were shouting out to him. So I can't say it was a very close fight. I can't say, it should have been Paddy or it should have been Juicy J. But from the reaction, like you said, no, on the Twitter and on social media, a lot of people felt that he shouldn't have won. But I can honestly say the judges, they're not, you know, it's one of Boylan's guys. Let's give it to him. They're 100% not like that. The top judges, and that's why we have 3 judges, man. Everyone sees things differently. Whether it be because one fighter controlled the whole round and then he knocks him down, and he gets knocked down, and they award that round to him. I don't know. Some people may see the criteria slightly differently to others, but you know, and I guess that's a grey area as well. The judging side, people, you know, especially as fans, need to realise what judges are looking for. You know,
well, the only one thing I'll say, and that's a very valid point, Dan. But the only one thing I would say is I spoke to an awful lot of people who watched that fight, and nobody has told me they thought Paddy Pimblett won that fight.
Mm-hmm. It was a very dangerous game that Paddy was playing in that fight, and you see it happen a lot where you have those grinding style grapplers, and if you're not winning the round on top, you're potentially losing the round because if you're not doing too much in the grappling exchanges, like Paddy didn't land much, and as you said, now I'm in agreement, like. When it did get to standing up, all it took was for Juicy J to land something big in order to win that round, and that's because of the style in the way Paddy went about with that fight. Yeah, you know what I mean. So to go about like that and to not get a hold of your opponent and keep them there, I know it's much easier said than done. But if you don't keep them on the ground and it does get to a standing position and you do get caught, you're losing that round because you haven't done a whole lot of damage within the round. I know control is part of it, but we've seen it more often than not. If it's not absolutely dominant, it tends to go against the fighter.
I also think at times Paddy was trying to show his striking. A little bit too much. He wasn't shooting as much as he usually would. He wasn't trying to get to the ground as much. Now he did, but he wasn't doing it as much. That's another thing on the whole conflict of interest. I don't think it influenced it, but it still is, you know, something that probably shouldn't happen. But even at the highest level, if you look at Ronda Rousey, she's rep by IMG WME, who own the UFC now. So it's not, you know, it's not just at this level. Sometimes you can see at the higher levels as well.
It doesn't hurt now that the boss of the company is your manager when you're fighting for that company. Yeah. Now the only thing I'll say is, well, I almost sound like I'm speaking out. I'm a huge Paddy Plymouth fan, right? And I said it to you lads when he signed with Cage Warriors. Everyone thought he was going to go to the UFC and fight next week in the UFC. I thought it was a great decision for him to stay on at Cage Warriors. A few more Cage Warriors fights, get more experience, get more built up, and that's what Paddy Plymouth will take in this fight. Yeah. I think he's due to fight in Liverpool. I think that's in February or March, and I can't wait to see Paddy come back, because I know he won't be happy with that performance and he want to improve. And it could be 5 rounds that will do more for his career. The way you see fighters grow from every fight, I have no doubt whatsoever that Plymouth will come back better than ever.
And as well, he'll probably improve his cardio so he doesn't get sick after the fight, which is
and drink hot chocolate.
But just quickly to finish off. But again, it goes to show, isn't it? He done 5 rounds. He pushed through it. He grinded. But again, people saying about his management and his and then the promoter being his management. If that was the case, I don't think he would have given him someone like Juicy J. Juicy J, you know, he's coming off. You know, he's looking to get back into the UFC, and you know, he said in his interview, this is the fight for him to be able to. If he beats Paddy, he can get back in there. You know, and it's just that I guess that level of fight has just gone from there to there for Paddy, and he pushed through it, and hopefully, you know, like you said, the cardio side, we've changed his game plan, man. It's not. Hey, it is what it is. Same with Fish Gold. His fight again, he got taken to the deep waters, and he came okay the other side. You know, he won the decision. That was a good fight. That was back and forth. But you could tell, you know, it was just that next level up for them, and they showed that they can hang in there. And I promise you, they'll mostly make the adjustments, and they'll come back and kick ass again.
It's funny because people were saying, "Oh, they thought Fish Gold lost," and I was like, "No, he didn't. He done enough in the early rounds. He done all his work in the early rounds." People tend to forget. Like, we had Thai fighters on not too long ago, and they spoke about, you know, you could lose round 1, 2, and 3, but come back in round 4 and 5, and you'll win the fight. MMA doesn't score that way. MMA is scored round by round, 10-point must system. And Fish Gold had the points in the bag going into the last round, and that's where he got in trouble, if you know what I mean. That's where the fight took off. And it looked like, by the end, if there was another round, man, if it was a 6-round fight. But no, he got it done, and he defended his belt, and congratulations to him. It was a great performance. And again, that will stand the test of time for him going on.
So we'll move on and we'll talk about UFC 205. What we'll do is we'll run through some of the big fights on the main card.
I didn't watch much of 205.
You just caught the main event.
No, I didn't even see the fight, so no spoilers.
So we'll talk about some of the big fights on the main card and some of the fallout from that. And then we'll touch on some of the fights from the prelims, because some of them prelim fights were amazing and there's some huge names and big stories coming from them. But we'll start with the main card. We'll start with Raquel Pennington defeating Miesha Tate by decision. It was a unanimous decision in a very impressive performance by Raquel Pennington. I think Carl's the only one that picked Raquel. But very impressive. We'll obviously talk about Miesha Tate and what she done after the fight. She retired from mixed martial arts. But what did you think of Raquel Pennington's performance?
Very, very good performance by Raquel. She's going in against one of the toughest female fighters in the division. Like, you know, Tate's known for being a scrappy fighter who can just pull a fight out of the bag. And Pennington didn't give her that chance to pull the fight out of the bag.
You'd usually beat Miesha Tate in the earlier rounds, but it was a 3-round decision. She looked good all 3 rounds.
You know, so it's a very good win for Raquel, because she's one of them fighters. Her record doesn't display how good she actually is.
It kind of shows her progression. Like,
exactly,
it really does.
Exactly, you know, like, she's been fighting a long time. So Raquel started when, like, there was no real amateur division, like a lot of fighters, you know what I mean? Like, there was no real amateurs. So she started off, and that kind of affected the way her win-loss looks. But like now she's after putting together a really good consecutive wins, like, you know what I mean. So she's starting to put her name her name into the hat for you know, the next title shot in that division. It's nice to see. Picking Raquel in that fight was always going to be a bit ropey because Miesha is a very, very dangerous opponent, but obviously she's coming off a devastating loss at UFC 200 and Raquel is just on the up and up, so you'd have to imagine that, you know, the ball was in Raquel's court to lose that fight. She's the one with all the confidence coming in. Yeah, Miesha is, you know, known to be dangerous and scrappy, but if you wanted to cement your place in the division, it was something she had to do, and she done it very, very well.
Yeah, great job.
You know, it was a great fight. I'm chuffed for Raquel. It was nice to see.
Good. Listen, one thing I noticed exactly. Do you remember when she fought, obviously, Amanda Nunes? And the one thing I said is that when Miesha Tate walked in and she did her raw, trying to psych herself up.
Yeah.
She done that twice.
Yeah.
Beginning of this fight.
Yeah.
And straight away, I looked over to Helen because Helen's one of her biggest fans. I was like, she's going to lose this. Done. Finished. And you could tell, I'm not taking anything away from Raquel, but if the Rousey who come in and fought Holly Holmes was standing, if the Tate who fought Holly Holmes was standing in front of Raquel, I don't think Raquel would have got past her with that game plan. I don't think you had the normal Miesha Tate there. That was there, but you know, Raquel done her job, done what she had to do. But again, you could I personally could see Miesha, her heart wasn't in it, and for someone to come out that quick as well afterwards, said, "Hey guys, I'm announcing my retirement." You had that back of your mind. You knew straight away before you got into that fight that, you know, I'm done and finished. And respect to her, you know, she's made that decision. It's not the promotion who's told her, look, maybe you should call it a day. And you don't want to be one of them fighters who you're coming off like 4 or 5 losses just because you were the champion and you be the gatekeeper for other people. And she's made that decision, and good luck to her. And hope she goes into something like commentary or analyst. And you know, there's not many female fighters as like her, well spoken, good looking, can do something like that. Whether it be for Fox Sports, whether it be for the UFC, whether it be whoever it may be. And so, yeah, best of luck to her. She's very knowledgeable. And she'll still be around the game because of a fella. A fella's still fighting, and she's got plenty of teammates. So,
is he, though?
Yeah.
Is he, though?
Huh?
Is he, though? What? Is Caraway really fighting? You know, to be fair.
He's Caraway alone.
I fucking hate Caraway. I can't stand
anyway, let's
welcome on the show anytime.
Hey, either. You're not the biggest fan of Miesha Tate either?
Yeah,
Nah.
Another
so anyway,
dust.
Before he gets the word in, come on, quick now.
Yeah, I when I was watching it, same as you said, Dan, I seen her trying to psych herself up, and I thought when I called this fight, I said I just think her wiliness as a veteran will get her through the fight.
Yeah,
she'll know what to do. She'll take advantage. One thing I completely forgot about in the build up to this was Miesha Tate was Pennington's coach in Ultimate Fighter, so she would have seen a lot. They would have seen a lot of one another. I'm sure they would have rolled and maybe sparred a little bit as well in training. I do agree, Dan. You know, I always say this as well. You look at a lot of lads, like a lot of fighters, a lot of women. It's almost easier to climb the mountain and get to the top, but it's hard to stay on the summit. And a lot of them fall hard. And I think that's happened to Miesha Tate. But she can hold her head up. She got to the highest pinnacle in her career. When the fight ended, as I seen them, Rogan was interviewing Pennington just before they were announcing the winner, I seen Miesha going over and talking to Bruce Buffer, and I was like, Miesha Tate's telling Bruce Buffer she's retiring. And again, Wendy was sat with me and she was like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because she's lost. She knows she's lost and she's talking. So they never do interviews after with the loser in the earlier fights. And sure enough, obviously, Joe Rogan then said, I'm going to speak to Miesha Tate, and said, here it comes. Yeah. And she said, yeah, I'm retiring. And Rogan did ask her, was this something you thought about, or was this due to the performance? And she did say it was performance related. And her team looks shocked as well. Yeah. But look, as you said, Dan, you know, she's an intelligent person. She's intelligent. She speaks very well. She'll come across very well on television. And it's something that they don't really have on Fox or any of that. They don't really have a woman fighter doing the presentation. I think she'd do a very good job at it. Fair play to her, you know. She's made her money, you know what I mean? She's been in the biggest fights. She fought Ronda Rousey twice. She's fought for the title. She won the title. But there's no harm, you know. It's it's like I was saying, women's MMA is like where men's MMA, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but women's MMA is a few years behind men's MMA.
Yeah.
So the likes of Pennington and the younger female fighters come up are more evolved than Miesha Tate. Their game is more well-rounded. And it's like if you chew chocolate down now, and I love chocolate down, but if you chew chocolate down in the light heavyweight division, when the style of fighting that he fought, he'd probably get outdone. Not saying lads are better fighters than him, but they just are more well-rounded. And you know what I mean? And that's where women's, I find, so could be wrong, people will argue and say, you fucking pig. Well, I just think that's where women's MMA is, and it's evolving rapidly. So if you're not evolving with it, you get left behind. And that's what I just think is happening with the sort of elder stateswomen, if you like. Not that Miesha Tate is old, but I just think she realises the younger lionesses are coming up,
Yeah. The game is always changing. Miesha's been around for a long time. It doesn't really matter how old you are. It just matters how many fights you have in you. Miesha has had a lot of fights.
Yeah, she's been around since 2007, so that's nearly 10 years. And then you look at her collegiate career, she was a wrestler as well. So that's a lot of years of competing, not just in MMA, but in grappling. But I do think that it's important to say how much of a pioneer of mixed martial arts for women that she is.
100%.
If there wasn't a Miesha Tate, I don't think Ronda Rousey would have the name that she does have. She needed somebody there to have that rivalry with. There was no one else there who could really compete with her, even though she beat her fairly handily in both fights. The second one, or the third one, was a little bit closer, but she needed that. She needed somebody she could bounce off. I think that was important for women's MMA for that to happen. But going into the fight, I did mention, I don't know if it was in her head, but I did mention she seemed off fight week. She seemed very, I don't know, it just didn't seem like herself. You just thought that sometimes she's like that, but if it was just a performance, then fair enough. But I do agree with Dan that I don't think something like a retirement is something that you just make up on the spot. I think it's something that you have to be thinking about at least in the back of your head. But congratulations on an amazing career, I think.
Yeah. Did you hear what Dana said when he tried to get her to go to the hospital?
Yeah. Fuck you, I don't work
Fuck
anymore.
you, I don't work here anymore. That's amazing. For that now, Miesha Tate is cool.
Yeah.
She's good in my books.
And we just have to tip the hat as well to Gary Morris, who put up on Facebook today going, Carl Dorman was right. Miesha Tate is a cunt. But she fucked up as a accumulator.
Yeah. So there you go. Mystic Doran strikes again.
Moving on swiftly. Yoel Romero defeated Noel O'Keefe's man, Chris Weidman, by KO flying knee in the third round. In a fight that I think Chris Weidman probably was winning.
Second round.
Second? It was second, not third.
Second.
Yeah, second round. Down as third on Wikipedia.
Wikipedia's wrong.
Yeah, Wikipedia's wrong. Look.
Wikipedia's wrong, yeah. Suck a dick.
Yeah. But yeah, in a fight that I think Chris was doing very well, and I don't think Yoel really started that well, but that flying knee came out of nowhere, and it was probably one of the most devastating knockouts I've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say very well. I mean, a couple of times Weidman tried to take Yoel down, and Romero just beasted him off, man.
Yeah,
It was a
tough
fight.
Trip.
And then it was kind of going that way of, like in between rounds. As soon as he started pouring that water over his head and his legs, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
He's gonna take fucking ages toweling him off, etc. But to be fair, that's the commissioner's job.
Yeah.
That's what the commissioner is standing there doing. That's his job or her job, standing there making sure that he's towed down within that minute, or when as soon as you hear the clappers go, towed down, gum shielding, ready to go. Not, hold on a second, do that. And to be fair, Mario done a good job and got everyone on. And then, like, same with the eye poke.
Yeah.
He was claiming that he got poked in the eye. I personally didn't see it. And then, look into Mario Yamasaki, and he obviously called time, assessed it, and quickly got it back on the road again and told him, look, I don't think you got poked in the eye. Yeah. But that knee, that flying knee, how the hell... I mean, it just come out of nowhere, didn't it? I think Weidman was trying to go for that single leg again, but he didn't set it up. He just dived in for it. He just went in for it, and Yoel just knew it, man. I'm just gonna plant this leg, plant this knee in.
Freestyle wrestler.
Yeah,
and you're not hiding your takedown attempts.
And it landed, and by the looks of it, damaged obviously to the side of the head, all cut open, and eye socket by the looks of it, but. Good fight, and I enjoyed watching it. But just quickly make a point. What is it with fighters saying, it's only the referee can tell you can call time if you got poked in the eye, man. Like yell going, "Oh, stop!" It's like, dude, like if the referee hasn't seen it, you got to carry on. You know, it's like someone getting punched in the eye or whatever. Maybe, oh, ref, hold on a second. I think I got poked in the eye.
That's just Yoel Romero.
He's
just
expects
shenanigans.
Yoel Romero is the Ric Flair of mixed martial arts. He's the dirtiest player in the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. You know, that's just the way he is. Now, I don't think it's right. You know what I mean? Especially in a competitive professional sport, it's very wrong. And the whole thing with pouring water over himself, I think at this stage now, there should be a rap sheet put together for Yoel Romero, and just the next time he has a fight, if he done something in his last fight, automatically deduct a point and put him at a disadvantage. Like, I know that's a stretch, but like it's very poor that he's doing stuff like that. I definitely disagree with it, because Yoel has that ability to be great. Yeah, but all these little things will be little black marks on his.
Reminds
me
of Paul Harris in ways.
Yeah,
he doesn't intentionally hurt people after the bell, but he does weird stuff like.
Yeah, like it's just going to be that little asterisk next to his name, you know. And
weirdo, how much did he sound like Scarface?
Yeah.
Hey, I love you, man.
I love the way they showed Bisping. I love the way they showed Bisping putting his finger up and all. That was brilliant. I'm coming for you, boy. Yeah. I got Bisping.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that was the greatest image of a champion. If anyone can pull it off, it's Michael Bisping.
Yeah. That's what I love about Bisping. Just the
only thing I'll say is Michael, retire. One, hide, as he's going to Hulk smash you.
Oh, you know what?
By your ankles and Hulk smash you.
You know what? I don't think that fight is as bad as other fights in the division.
I kind of agree. I think Jacare is a worse fight for Bisping.
Yeah, so do I. I think with Bisping's survivability and Yoel's gas tank, that could be a very interesting fight.
Exactly. Bisping will strike and move for 5 rounds.
Yeah. I think it's a very, very interesting fight.
5 rounds. You don't think so?
No. I don't think I'd get out of the first 2 minutes.
Jesus.
Who? Bisping?
Yeah, Yoel Romero would absolutely destroy Michael Bisping. Destroy him.
So if you said what?
Yoel Romero is explosive in the first round.
If you went back and you said Bisping and Chris Weidman fighting, I would have picked Bisping. Yeah.
Chris Weidman.
I think better striker and his takedown defense are good, but I think Bisping as well. I mean the way Weidman took Romero out of the first round into the second. Granted that he got knee to the head, but I don't think Bisping will make a mistake of trying to go for a shot or a takedown. He'll stand and strike. You know, it's Romero who have to take him down to the floor.
Well, but
I don't know. It's a tough one. I would like to see that fight. As much as on paper, you go, could be one side, but actually thinking about it, it'd be a pretty good damn fight to have. Yeah. Let's hope. You never know. March, London.
I'm really excited for that fight. It's
Before
a
we
good
move on,
stylistic fight.
Dana White did say that Yoel Romero challenging Bisping next makes sense.
Yeah.
So just go around the room. Do we think that's the fight to make?
Yeah. I do. For fan, and I hope it's in London in March.
Yeah. Same here.
Noel's looking a bit tentative.
No, I'm taking a runner off. Sorry.
Who else really?
Weidman was. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Got there in the end.
I don't think it's a good fight. I think Bisping's just going to get murdered.
Are you a Bisping fan?
Yeah.
That's why you're tentative. So
before you move on to the next one, did you guys see the video that someone posted out and Bisping retweeted it, or him in the pisser with all the fans, with the Irish fans?
No.
You didn't see it?
I've seen the video. I didn't press play.
Press play. He's going for a piss in the toilets with the normal crowd, the normal fans, and they're all fucking singing, "Come on, Bisping!" while he's fucking taking a piss.
That's
you get a chance, watch it, and obviously share it on the social media. Man.
That is hilarious.
There's a great picture as well of a lot of Irish fans with Jeremy Stevens, and they have the big flag, and it says Jeremy Stevens. Who the fuck is that guy? And he's just there laughing. It's amazing. Up next, Joanna Jędrzejczyk defeated Karolina Kowalkiewicz by unanimous decision in a fight that was probably more competitive than a lot of people would have thought. But Joanna did come out on top, and she's still champion. What do we think of that fight?
It was a very good technical fight. Joanna definitely won the fight 100%.
Yeah.
There was no, is this round close? Is that round close? Joanna just bossed the fight. But Carolina, she did put up.
She won a round.
She did put up a good fight, but I think it was just a bit too early for Carolina. In that, unfortunately, at strawweight for the women, it's not a very thick division, unfortunately. So people are pushed to the top quite quickly. Yeah. But she made a good show of herself, and I'd be interested to see maybe if Joanna. Yeah, she did. Yeah. She did. If Joanna retains her title up until maybe next year or so, I'd be interested in seeing that fight again a year on, how Carolina improves and adapts. Sorry?
Yeah. Talking about the Poland.
UFC are talking about the Poland.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. So, that could be, it could be very interesting to see what sort of changes she makes to her game.
Yeah, I think that fight proved that there is some weaknesses in Joanna's game. Yeah. And I think a good person to fight her next, if she could probably get one more win, would be Calderwood. Yeah. Calderwood has some losses, but I think stylistically that matchup, if it goes later, if she can get if she can get a win or two, because I do think Joanna probably take a little bit of time off, probably a couple of months, because she's fighting quite a lot.
Well, she's broke her nose.
Yeah, and there's really nobody in the division.
No, it's not broke.
It's not broke.
Fuck.
No. Yeah. I still think she will take some time off, because there's not that many challengers right now in the division. Yeah. If Calderwood can get a win, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gave her the title shot. I think it's an interesting fight. I still would pick Joanna, but I think that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
but the thing is with Calderwood, for me, first round, she comes out so slow.
Yeah, that's the problem.
There's never bam bam on the trigger, whereas Joanna will come out.
That's what I said. If it goes later,
she will light her up,
Yeah, if it goes later, I think. Also on that one, Carolina was calling for a rematch, but Joanna I think she was on the MMA, or I'm not sure, but she did say that she doesn't deserve a rematch. She thinks that every round was a 10-8.
Joanna says she thinks she won every round 10-8.
10-8, yeah.
But, look. Yeah. Yeah, she did win the fight. Yeah. Carolina put a good show in, but I'd love to see, as much as we can all see Joanna's nose, the big bridge there. Yeah. I'd love to see Carolina's legs, because her legs were chewed up. Joanna controlled it. Now Carolina rocked her at one stage, and
rocked her bad. Yeah.
Well, I think it was probably, apart from Claudia, it was a different pressure put on her at that time, and she showed holes in her striking that weren't shown previously. But come here, I have to say, Carolina, she's some scary nut, isn't she? See the way she leans up against the cage, looking all innocent.
Yeah, and then winks,
and next minute she comes down, she's the killer.
Yeah, she's like American Psycho.
Yeah, but you were saying about the leg kicks. You saying about the leg kicks, but you're talking about two girls who've been in the Thai boxing game for a long time. So they're used to taking them kicks.
But Dan, there's something like, I think up to 3 rounds was in the third round they done 78 kicks.
It was beautiful as well, the way she was doing it. She was backing away when throwing the leg kick, and she was walking straight into him. It was lovely.
Do you think that you're saying about Joanna striking being exposed? Do you think it might have had something to do with her moving to American top 10 and maybe just concentrated? Obviously, we know she's doing the striking, but do you think she concentrated on her wrestling as well?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And that might come away from her striking a little bit.
To be fair with Joanna, she controlled the striking for 95% of that fight. It was really that 5% where she got caught. Yeah. And I think in our breakdown, I mentioned that Carolina was staying there for 5 rounds. And I think, and not any fighter, but if you can stay in there for 5 rounds, you're going to get a chance to land. And she did. She got a chance to land. She landed pretty big. I don't know about that. Maybe we'll see in our next fight if there's any changes there. But I'm not sure about that one.
I'd like to see a number 2 of this.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good point, Dan. Well, I think one thing I would say is that Carolina is also a legit high-level striker. You know what I mean? So it's not as if Joanna was in there and she got caught by someone who's striking as poor. Carolina's probably a second to only behind Joanna for striking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That division.
Maybe Calderwood.
She's 10-1 now. That's the first time she's lost in her mixed martial arts career.
First time she's lost. I think that she has 2 losses, 1 amateur and 1 professional. Both really? Joanna.
So I'd be very interested now to see what sort of fire that puts in her belly, that loss. You know what I mean?
And it's got to as well. You got to think she's lost on a huge card against a huge fighter and you got to think it was the battle of who's the best in Poland. Yeah, let's be honest. Who's the best Polish fighter. So that pressure and all that. And she went to this and she didn't get knocked out like everyone thought that Joanna was going to give her a good makeover. you know. But it'd be interesting how she does come back and maybe get one more, get her, maybe her versus Claudia. That'd be a good fight, and then her against Joanna again.
Yeah, I was gonna say Claudia and Carolina fight, and I think they're touting Shevchenko. Is it against Joanna?
Shevchenko?
Yeah. Valentina?
Is that her?
No, she's at bantamweight.
Shevchenko is the one who fought Holly Holmes, right?
Yeah,
but is there not? Was there not? I don't know. Maybe I was in dreamland reading something. Yeah. Is there not something though where Joanna was going to go up?
I don't know.
Well, she's 115. She'd be going to 135.
115, yeah. And Shevchenko, I don't know. I was reading. Maybe it was Reddit.
Yeah.
Reading like a catchphrase or something.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Don't go into Reddit.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Up next, Tyron Woodley Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson went to a majority draw in a welterweight title fight. In a very, very, very good fight, I thought. But the first thing I will ask, who won the fight? Or was it a draw?
I think it was a draw.
I think I called it a draw on my scorecards.
I had it a draw as well.
I think if Wonderboy in that fourth round hadn't got top position, it probably could have been a 10-7.
Yeah.
In my opinion. If he hadn't got that top position in the fourth round, it could have been a 10-7.
Never really
saw 10-7 though. Joe Rogan today?
Huh?
Listening to Joe Rogan today, right? Yeah.
I was. But, you know, that is...
Was that a quote?
Was
that a quote?
Huh?
Did Cole just give us a quote then? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I didn't phrase it. I was just acting the bollocks. Yeah, that sounds like a direct Joe Rogan quote.
No, but I think, you know, it probably was. Because I was very fucking... very iffy the other night watching it. Fair enough. Fair enough. But
really messing with you, Carl.
No, it's grand.
It's a valid point though.
Yeah,
just because Joe Rogan agrees with you doesn't mean you're
I personally disagree. Because I think a 10-7, I think you almost have to fucking like proper like finish him on like 6 occasions or something.
Do you think so?
I think so. It's 10-7. You never see it. Like I can't remember ever seeing a 10-7 in MMA ever.
No, neither can I. But do you not think that there's a time for one? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Do you not think that's
I don't know what constitutes a 10-7, like compared to like a 10-8. Like, what do you have to do to get a 10-7?
Yeah, because it's difficult enough to get a 10-8.
Yeah, like you have to almost kill them. But what rounds? Because there was some weird scorecards. I think somebody gave a 10-8 for the first round.
Someone gave the first round 10-8.
Yeah, 10-8 to Woodley.
So then, if that's the case, you could have given a 10-7 for the fourth.
Yeah, the fourth they gave a 10-9.
That's strange. I didn't see it.
What's up with that?
I'm going to be honest with you, right? The first two, maybe possibly 3 rounds, I was nodding off. It wasn't that exciting for me. It's only 4th and 5th round now. I was like, okay, hold on a second, something's happening here. First 1 or 2 rounds, was not interested, man.
Yeah.
That
was very, very good.
Yeah.
Do you think Woodley is talking shit when he's saying about how he deliberately put his back up against the cage, or do you think that was legit?
Yeah, I think that's the way he fights. Yeah, that's the way he fights.
Yeah.
He always
does
that.
Out sidekick. Apparently, he was saying sidekick. He was calling the shots to Wonderboy as he was about to start throwing them.
Really?
Yeah. I do think as well, there was a lot of people talking about why Wonderboy didn't really open up. I think Woodley done a really good job in that first round. Once he got that takedown, you could see Wonderboy just start tightening up on the strikes. He wouldn't really throw as many kicks as he usually wouldn't let go in his hands. And I think that first round really, if Woodley didn't get that takedown in the first round, I think it would have been a completely different fight. It also helped that he cut him open in the first, but I think that first big takedown really set a precedent for what Wonderboy could do in the whole fight. I really do.
Put a fucking hesitation.
It really did.
You know who I feel for out of this though?
Moya.
Damien Moya.
Yeah. Fucking big time.
They have to rematch. They have to rematch.
Yeah. I think Dana's already said it as well, has he not? That it's gonna be a rematch. But the crazy thing is as well, it's like I felt sorry for Bruce Buffer. What the hell happened there, man? He was coming in, then he got called back out. I mean, it'd be nice if someone, I don't know if someone has interviewed him to ask him what the hell happened.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind. Joe Rogan hung him twice.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan,
Do you know who I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for Conor. He won't get his tour title now.
But apparently, when you look at it, right, because when I was sitting here watching it, when he went 47-47, 47-47, I went, oh, it's a majority draw. Yeah. And then he went 48 for your winner. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then apparently what happened, I was listening to Joe Rogan. I was listening today too, Carl. They turned around and they said that Rogan was just going to announce it, but Buffer was like, no, I want to do it because it was a mistake.
He wanted to correct his own mistake.
But he wanted to correct it and announce the proper score. So which credit to him, you know what I mean? He could have easily went, let Joe do it. Yeah. But I reckon what happened there is that, well, like you know yourself, Dan, when you're at a show, there's like a chief judge or whatever, and they hold the scores, they tally up the scores, and they give the scores. So I'd say what happened was the judge, chief judge or commissioner or whoever it was, wrote majority decision. And Bruce Buffer just done a Ron Burgundy. Yeah. And was like, well, I've been handed this by the official, so I'm going to read this. And I reckon what happened was when Buffer, because when you look at it, Buffer first went, ladies and gentlemen, then he stopped and walked out of the cage. And he went round and checked it, and then he came back. So I'd say what happened was Bruce looked at it, seen 47-47, and went, sure, that's a fucking draw. So I went, hold on. And he went out and went, what's the story? Is this right? And I'd say the commissioners looked at it and went, yeah, no, that's right, yeah. So Buffer went, you sure? And they were like, yeah. And then he walked off. But as Buffer walked off, the commissioners were going, actually, hold on. It's fucking 47-47. Is that how the majority draw? And then I'd say that's what happened.
Did the majority of judges give it a draw? Yes.
Yeah. Well, like, that's what I honestly think happened, you know? And I thought it was hilarious. Did you see Wonder Boy? He was like, what the fuck's going on here?
Did you see Woodley? Woodley was like holding onto his belt.
Yeah, but that, like, could you imagine that? Like, that's literally victory snatched away. Like, you know what I mean? That'd be horrible.
Oh, it'd be horrendous.
That would be horrible.
I've had two examples of that happen to me as an MC.
Did you?
Being told the wrong winner. One was on a local show.
He was reading. I'm sorry about it.
Like a mix.
What did you say there? Go on.
No, I was saying one was on a local show where the chief judge went, red corner, and he pointed at the red corner, and I went red, and he went, yeah, and I read out the score. And when I read out the score, he then, I went, what? And he says, the blue corner. I said, you fucking pointed at the red corner. Never mind, say red, you pointed at it. And then another one was on a sort of a bigger show, and the scores, I don't know why, were given to the referee, and the referee told me the winner. And when the referee said to me red corner, I went, red corner? And he was like, yeah. And you're trying to keep it a secret, you don't want to give it away. But I sort of gave a sneaky, like,
that guy.
And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, all right, fair enough. So I was like, split decision, red corner. But then I was told 5 minutes later that was wrong. It was actually the blue corner. And I was going, well, that wasn't fucking me, made a mistake. And it does. That's why I'm saying I understand why Bruce Buffer wanted to take the mic back to say it. Because as much as I would say 99.9% it wasn't Bruce Buffer's error, he would have felt it was. So he wanted to correct it.
Yeah,
but maybe from now on, like most to the ring announcers out there or the MCs out there, they should also be able to look at a fight card themselves and to be able to say or challenge the judge and go, look, you've got two draws here and a decision. Surely that's a majority draw or whatever it may be. Are you sure? So if you can question them, you know, not just because you got that. And I'm sure Bruce was looking, what the fuck is this, man? I'm reading now. I reckon he just made a mistake or just a genuine mistake on the night, and that's it. But yeah, poor Woodley, man. I felt for him. I thought, fuck, man. Because it's not a win, is it, really? You kept your belt, but it's not a win. Yeah. It's a draw.
You still defended your belt, I suppose.
I genuinely thought the white man was going to rip him off for a second. It's like, for fuck's sake, here we go. It's like, poor Woodley. He gets no love whatsoever.
Belt ended up getting wrapped around Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I know.
But in the end, the white man screwed him over anyway.
Before we move on, we talked a little bit what's next. Do we think the draw is next? Assuming everyone's fine, Wonder Boy doesn't have to take time off because they get hit pretty hard. Is the draw next, and what do we do with Maya?
As much as it pisses me off, it has to be, because I'd like to see Damian Maya put a fucking beating on Tyron Woodley. I'd love to see that. Damian Maya just choke him out. But
so who'd you put Maya up against in the? If you think Maya waits?
I think you wait.
If I am Damian Maya, I'm pulling the Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, waiting.
And I'm waiting because he was told he'd get his title shot, and I think they have to do that.
When did Damian Maya fight last?
So it was Carlos Condit. What was that? Couple of months ago.
Yeah, about
2 months ago.
2 months ago.
During the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, he could be waiting a total of 8-9 months really.
March.
Could be
April.
quite a while.
And at his age, no disrespect, but at his age.
Yeah.
I say triple threat. That's what I say.
So who'd you give him at welterweight if that's the case?
Or do you do an interim belt? Interim title?
You could do an interim
title. No, because the champion's still there defending his belt.
Yeah. I suppose, we have to see what happens with Wonderboy. Wonderboy could be out for a couple of months. You never know. He did get rocked in that fight. I didn't see any medical suspensions yet, but we've seen medical suspensions happen for less.
But there's pictures today of Woodley back training.
Yeah. Woodley? What about Wonderboy?
Fair play, man.
Yeah, I'll be in bed.
No, I haven't heard that about Wonderboy, but Woodley's back in the gym anyway.
Imagine they brought fucking Nick Diaz in to fight Daniel Movahedi.
That'd be a great fight.
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah,
that would be a good fight.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was just thinking there. I was like, what about Nate? I was like, wait, fucking Nick is back.
Yeah, Nick. Up next, we'll talk about the big one.
See, like Jacare Souza and all were there as well. We skipped past that, but you see Jacare Souza and all was there as a
like a backup,
as an alternative. The way in and all.
Yeah, it's mad.
Was he?
Yeah, they brought him in.
But he's fighting in Brisbane, isn't he?
Middleweight?
Yeah.
For Weidman?
Yeah, for that fight, was it?
For Weidman or Yoel, was it?
It was in case any of them fell out, yeah.
Why didn't
was it? I thought he was weighing in early or something like that.
He was an alternative. Everyone thought, oh my God, they're bringing Jacare in to fight Tim Kennedy or something like that. You know what I mean?
Why not? Why didn't you put him in with Tim Kennedy?
Maybe Jacare didn't want to fight Tim Kennedy.
I suppose. Yeah, makes sense. We'll move on anyway. The big one. Conor McGregor defeated Eddie Alvarez to capture a second world title. He's now the lightweight champion, featherweight champion, and in my opinion, that was probably his best performance in the UFC so far. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, 100%.
That or the Nate Diaz fight.
Yeah.
What? A lucky shot. Yeah, but for me, I thought it was.
The word I keep using to it's put my thoughts out there for the world to hear is it was a masterful display.
Yeah. I think I tweeted that as well.
From start to finish, it was composed, it was precise, it was accurate.
Yeah.
And watching it, I felt like it sounds like it's easy to say we're watching history, but when you're growing up and your parents will be telling you stories or you're about Muhammad Ali and stuff like that. Now, I'm not comparing Conor McGregor to Muhammad Ali, so let's not jump that way. But in the same way, Conor McGregor in 20 years' time will be spoke about. In 40 years' time, with MMA ground will be spoke about this historic event. Everything he done with the mink coat and everything, to be Frazier and all that. Yeah. That was all deliberate. That was all done for the photos, for everything, all deliberately done. But his display in the octagon was, you said, Rob, his best performance in UFC. It was the best performance of his career. Yeah. And listening to John Kavanagh on Ariel Helwani, he was saying that Conor was giving out about little things he'd done in the fight, but he made Eddie Alvarez look average. Eddie Alvarez is a world-class mixed martial artist, and Conor McGregor made him look average. Yeah. That's how skillful Conor McGregor's display was on Saturday night. Yeah. It was, like I said, like you were watching history take place, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, fuck's sake, now, go off Conor McGregor's dick.
I can't believe you compared Conor to fucking Muhammad Ali. What you fucking...
But why not? But hold on. You saying, it'd be wrong to compare him against Muhammad Ali. That's it. First of all, it's a totally different sport, and we're in a different era as well. You think what this guy has done in 4 years of being in UFC, what he has achieved, two titles at different weights, the money that he makes, the money he's made for the company, the people he's brought into the sport. Obviously, you can't put you can put him up there with Muhammad Ali, but obviously in totally different sports.
Different ways as
well. He's doing for MMA what Muhammad Ali doing for boxing.
Yeah. Muhammad, they said it on the Joe Rogan podcast. Muhammad Ali was fighting for black people's human rights as well.
Yeah, and then
in
the
a
whole,
way, and the whole Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
Yeah.
Conor is a white man. No. Conor is a white man when Donald Trump is president. He's gonna be grand.
What is your racist agenda?
I just said, look, Trump is president. I can say wherever the fuck I want now.
It's huge.
Michael D. Higgins is president. Do you live in Ireland?
Yeah, no, but still, Michael D. Higgins looks like a fucking goblin.
All right, anyway, let's bring back the Conor.
Yeah, let's pull it back. Pull it back.
Fucking hell, the famous fight ever, and you're talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah, go, Dan.
I was going to say, I agree with Noel. You know, he did make look Eddie, so to speak, normal, because everyone before this fight was like, "Oh, Eddie's going to come in, you're going to take him down. He's a bulldog." And don't get me wrong, when you watch Eddie Alvarez's fight history, you know, whether it be when he was in Pride or Bodog or Strike Force or Elite XC, them fights in there, he comes through things, and that's just outside of UFC promotion. When he came to the UFC, he has beat the who's who, you know.
Barely.
But again, Conor had that. He's got that gift of getting into your head.
Yeah.
That whole press conference when Conor turned up late, then Eddie Alvarez going, "Oh, my opponent's not here. Oh, give me a call when he does turn up." It's like, "Oh, why are you being so childish for?" Sit there. You obviously clearly bothered him.
That was his first mistake, I thought.
Then Conor coming in, taking his belt. It was just all that whole mind game. It was like, here we go. It's Aldo all over again. You know, really got into his head out of everyone. The problem is, when he done this with Diaz is, you know,
genuine. He doesn't. Diaz genuinely doesn't give a fuck.
Diaz is so punch drunk anyway that he doesn't realise what the guy's saying anyway. Yeah. So it doesn't bother him. Whereas these guys, it does bother him. Then he come out about the whole thing about, you know, Conor's having kids, he's having twins or whatever it is, but his wife's having one or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. Then the other one was, you've been on welfare. It was like this childish replies, and it was like, come on, man, where are you going with it? And it clearly bothered him, and then when he got into that cage,
Conor McGregor, what a fucking cunt, having kids.
but just the way he was pinging them left shots, and then when Alvarez tried to go for that takedown, and Conor defended it, beautiful underhook, control, wrist control, reversed it, and he knocked him down once, twice, and you know, John McCarthy, a couple of people go to him, maybe you stepped in too quick. I was like, no, man. You take, as a referee, you take into account all the other shots, the other knocks that he's taken when he's been put down on his ass, and he's had to get stand back up again. You know, let's just imagine that was a boxing match. He's put him down. You've given it 8 count. He stood up. He's put him down again. Given another 8 counts. 3 8 counts in one round. The fight's over. Yeah. You know, that's exactly how some people should look at it like that.
Yeah, I said that.
John McCarthy stepped in at the right time and saved his ass, man. Because all that would have happened was Conor would have backed off. Alvarez would have stood up again, and same thing. Boom, 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 and put on your ass, and you know he could have ended up in a worse position than what he was. That's my take. Great fight. I enjoyed it. Part of history, man.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it a couple of times, Dan, when we're talking about stoppages of fights. The referee always looks at the eyes, and I think I didn't see Eddie Alvarez's eyes, but I'm sure there was something there because once the fight was stopped, he didn't move. He was lying on his back, and he kind of just sat up really slowly, and then made no complaints or anything like that. I think there's loads of things that Conor done in the fight that I thought was like very impressive. We know his left hand is amazing, but I thought his use of his right hand was really good. Usually Conor doesn't really use it. He uses it to set up his big left hand, but I thought he used it a lot better this time. He didn't rely on his left. Now his left was the one that done most of the damage, but he used his right to really, and his kicks to keep him at range. I thought, and his use of
right hand was fucked as well.
Yeah. He was just kind of pawning it out there, but his feints and it's just his range was just beautiful. I thought it was an amazing performance. As Dan said, his takedown offense much improved.
Again, John Kavanagh turned around as well on MMAR, and he said there was no movement made that wasn't intended.
Yeah,
every movement he done, everything he done in that fight was fully intentional. Do you know what I mean? He didn't waste, and you can see Robin Black spoke about it when he was with us last week, where he said that Nate Diaz fight is going to grow, Conor, and the first one, and you can see it. You can see it. Like, it's just, you look at Conor McGregor from the Marcus Brimage fight to the Conor McGregor now. We were talking about evolution of MMA, and how it's evolved. Conor McGregor is just, every time he gets in there, you're more and more impressed with him. His composure and how cool. We called Carolina American Psycho. Conor McGregor was like a sniper. You didn't see him coming. You just were getting hit and you were being put in your ass. Eddie Alvarez said it. When he got hit the first time, he didn't feel it. He just ended up on the ground going, how the fuck did I end up here? And was getting up again. So Conor McGregor is like a marksman on the top of a roof, and he's hitting you with shit you don't even see. Yeah. It was absolutely like, I'm watching MMA fucking just 20 years, whatever. Just short 20 years. And it's just, I've never, like, he's Irish, so we have that whole, he's Irish. Take that he's Irish out of it. And don't look through the binoculars. That was one of the best championship performances you'll ever see from a champion. Fighting for the first time at 55 in the UFC. Fair enough, he's done it in Cage Warriors. But fighting for the first time in 55, he takes out the fucking champion. Come on.
Yeah, not just phenomenal. Any champion. Eddie Alvarez, nobody does that to Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is known for his durability. If Conor was going to win, I thought it was going to be a finish, but I didn't think it'd look like that, where he made him look a little bit silly at times. Like, some of them shots that were landing and Eddie just falling on his arm, it made him look silly. Yeah. Nobody does that. Nobody does that to Eddie Alvarez.
Can I just jump in here? Like,
Warrior.
It's as much as Conor was absolutely phenomenal in that fight, you know, we're saying that Eddie, you know, jumped in with a takedown and that Conor's takedown defense was amazing. You have to remember that Eddie was extremely hurt when that happened.
Yeah.
While Conor's takedown defense has come on leaps and bounds, let's not go into Ronda Rousey territory here and say that our hands are absolutely amazing. She's the best boxer in the game, because Conor's wrestling, in certain respects compared to other people, just isn't as good as it could be. That doesn't mean that he's not training on it and making it as good as he can. But if that had been Khabib Nurmagomedov, then it's a very, very different fight.
Yeah, it's a
very different fight. So Conor did look amazing, and yeah, he's 2-weight world champion, and I fucking love what he's done for the sport. But at the same time, you have to be realistic about how good is his wrestling, actually.
Yeah.
He's fought Eddie Alvarez, who did come from a wrestling background, and he's more so known as, we'll just say, an all-round mixed martial artist. Yeah. Not one part of his game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's not that specialist. Conor now, we'll see who he has to fight. If he fights Khabib, that's an extremely dangerous fight. Extremely, and I hope that fight happens.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I think Khabib by far deserves it. He's 23-0. I know he's been out injured
24.
and all this.
24 now.
24 now. Thanks, Noel. I know he was injured and stuff like this, but I'd be very interested to see, even if Conor loses, just how much he's come along in his wrestling. And if
after watching the Michael Johnson and Khabib fight, man, Conor McGregor will fucking, personally, I think, will light him up with his hands. I'm just saying, and I can't see Khabib getting that shot. I reckon it's going to be Diaz and McGregor 3, because Khabib, I don't think he's been active enough, and I don't think UFC will give it.
That'd be the biggest pay-per-view, Dan. And Dan, you've been saying it for as long as you've been on with us here. You always say if it makes money, it makes sense. Yeah. And right now, as much as Khabib deserves a shot, he does. Khabib deserves a shot 100%. By the way, Jose Aldo deserves his shot too. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the biggest fight the UFC could make right now is a rubber match for the lightweight title against Nate Diaz. Bring you back to a couple of episodes ago when I turned around and said Conor McGregor will fight Eddie Alvarez in New York. He's also, no, he's injured, he's out, it's gonna happen. It happened. My second part of that prediction was that he'll then fight Nate Diaz in the rubber match for the title. So I still think that's going to happen, and I think it's the biggest fight right now the UFC could make. By the way, Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz were at his after party.
Yeah, because me and Carl were talking before we started the show, and we're talking about what's next, and that's what we can get into now. Obviously, you think it should be Nate Diaz, but realistically,
I'm not saying it should be.
Or you think it'll be. But realistically for the UFC, if Conor comes back, should it be 145? If he wants to hold on to that title, if he comes back and fights at 55 again, I understand that, you know, he's the biggest star in MMA at the moment, but can you really justify leaving the title on him when he had what, 4 fights? Mm-hmm. Before fights outside of that weight division after capturing that title?
After doing what Conor McGregor done, I think he can do what he wants at this stage.
I do think he can do what he wants, but is realistically, should that happen?
No.
I don't think
100% no. He should have to either vacate his title at 145 or defend it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if he vacates it, you might see Aldo and Edgar.
Max Holloway.
Yeah. Max Holloway.
Holloway.
Max.
Yeah. But then again,
Holloway.
Yeah. Okay.
Edgar Aldo said they're happening twice.
But then before
Edgar's
let's go back.
talking about 135, by the way.
Which I'd like.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, you're gonna have. I reckon you're gonna have Ferguson and Khabib first.
Yeah.
And then the winner out of them two possibly fighting Conor. But then before that, it's gonna be Conor and Diaz 3.
Cool.
Maybe.
Well, I have a funny feeling as well, though. Conor was going on that his leg was jacked up after Diaz and his right hand is jacked up. The announcement that congratulations, Conor is expecting they're expecting their first child, so congratulations to Conor and D. But I have a funny feeling Conor might be stepping away for a little while.
Yeah,
recoup and get all his ducks in a line. He was saying he's terrified about fatherhood. We'll tweet him your number, Carl. You can tell him.
I believe he said crapping his jocks. I believe that's what the quote was. Crapping his jocks.
Crapping me jocks.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll be back in there in April.
I think he might take a side step away, and he might have a summer show in Dallas Stadium.
Yeah, so looking at that, it looks like he will be taking time off. I think they said April or May or something, I think, in the press conference for the baby. So if it is that, realistically, he probably won't be doing a training camp for the last couple of months, or maybe he'll start a training camp, but probably not. So you're probably looking at next summer. That's a long time. That's, in the prime of his career after coming off his best performance, in my opinion, in a lot of your opinions, and winning 2 titles, and also not defending the featherweight title for quite a long time. Obviously, it's an important thing to him. You could clearly see that, but is that smart, taking that much time off?
I don't think he will take that much time off.
You don't?
I honestly think he will fight in April, just before the baby is born, and then take the title. I mean, this is me speaking as a father. If that was me, I would fight just before my baby's born, and then have time off for I don't know, whether it is 6 months, 7 months, being around the house, enjoying your child, etc. That's how I would do it. Have a big fight just before it's born. Boom.
Obviously depends now on how good his right hand is and his leg, of course. If his hand and leg is fine, Dan, I think that's definitely a possibility. Yeah. I never even thought of doing it in that way. That's definitely a possibility, depending on how those injuries go.
What's next for Eddie Alvarez?
I was only talking to Robert before we started. It's kind of sad that any fighter, with the one exception of actually Nate,
Max Holloway.
Yeah, and Max, but that was because Max is so young. It's kind of sad that if you are a top competing fighter, if you take the Conor fight, there's a very big chance that it's going to end up with like a boxing scenario where your career could be potentially destroyed if you lose. If you look at how Aldo has been treated by the UFC and just how devastated obviously Eddie is and all the backlash that he's getting now, people are starting to say that he was made to look like an amateur and all this sort of stuff. And while he was made to look very poor, it's because Conor did look so well. But it's a strange situation to be in when you lose. We've said in mixed martial arts, if you lose one fight, it's not that big of a deal. But if you lose that fight against Conor, it looks like it could be the most dangerous thing to ever happen to your career. It's strange.
Like Aldo, that loss to McGregor for Aldo was one of the worst things that happened to, I suppose, any champion's career in a way. Like that was a big loss. Like that was a huge loss. That's still there, and he hasn't got a chance to get back to the title. So I definitely see where you're coming from there.
He hasn't got a chance to get back to the title. Aldo is the interim title.
Interim.
That's
not but that's because they made an interim because Conor's not defending. But no, I disagree with you in a way, because as much as you say a loss doesn't affect you in MMA, it doesn't when you're not the number one guy. But when you're the champion, it like Rafael dos Anjos, for example, he lost his belt. He didn't fight Conor, and he's lost 2 on the strap now. So, when you're fighting against Conor McGregor, like everybody knows who Conor McGregor is. I can guarantee you could walk down to the shop now at fucking 9:05 at night, and you could ask an Elwin in the shop, you know who Conor McGregor is. And I'd say 90% of them will say, yeah, that's that Irish fella that fights. Do you know what I mean? They mightn't get it right and say UFC or whatever, but they'll know who Conor McGregor is.
But that's exactly why I'm saying
it's a different set of cameras on you. It's a different set of lights. The world is watching when you fight Conor
McGregor. That's exactly why I'm saying it's the most dangerous fight you can take. Because if you lose to Conor McGregor, every L1 down in the shop goes, there's that chap that lost.
There's a chap that got digged around.
Yeah.
No, but the thing about MMA,
go both ways,
we always talk about this. MMA is fickle. Eddie Alvarez comes out and fights whoever next. Let's say he gets Ferguson and he fights Ferguson and he wipes the floor with him. The McGregor fight is almost forgotten. Like, it's not forgotten because it was a title fight, but you can redeem yourself very quickly in MMA. MMA fans are fickle. We forget very quickly.
Yeah, and
like, you look at talk about Conor being pound for pound number one now. 2 fights ago they were talking about he's no cardio and he's finished.
Yeah. Jose Aldo came back and won his fight after beating Conor McGregor, and people are still saying that he's not where he used to be and he's getting disrespected all over the place. So,
but then that's his, to a certain degree, that's his undoing when he's going, I want to have my contract, I can't be bothered anymore, I don't want to do it. That's it. He's not. Conor's good at selling himself, man. He's there to sell himself, and of course they're going to put, rather than putting one camera on you if you can sell yourself, they're going to put 5 cameras on you. Like, look at, for example, like Nate Diaz. He's got the gift of the God, man. He don't give a fuck what he says, whether he has a fight in a casino or he's saying something to someone at an after party. He's there to say, and that's why him and Conor go well together. You know, I think to the gift of the gab, Conor kind of has met his match a little bit with Diaz in that sense of like, hey, there's someone who can talk as well, you know.
People always say as well that Diaz is not an intelligent person, but
no,
street wise he's very intelligent, and for the fight game he's one of the most intelligent. Like, his tweet after the Conor McGregor fight was literally a hand slap. That's what it was. It was just one hand slap, and it was kind of like, it was similar to Woodley's tweet when Woodley said, you can't nobody ever calls me a bitch, don't call me a bitch again. And then Conor's tweet was just bitch. And it's like, it's just so simple, but you get it.
Like, I want to say about Eddie Alvarez just before it goes out, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about fighters not getting people thinking about them, right? You look at when Conor McGregor lost to Nate Diaz, look how humble he was in defeat. In the cages, I know what happened, let's go and work on it now, you know. And he was real humble in defeat, didn't bitch him out the way, Dan, what you were saying about Jose Aldo, what Aldo's doing. Even Khabib was losing at the weekend. Like, Khabib just won. Who cares? I'm fucking Dana White. I want to beat up your son.
I beat these chickens.
But talking about Conor. But Alvarez today released a statement and he's saying, I bottled it on the big stage. I didn't do anything on the camp that I was training to do. Predominantly the camp was move left, wrestle. I boxed. I got beaten up. I used the wrong game plan. I froze on the big screen. And he came out and was humble, congratulating McGregor on a great victory, great tactics. So he sort of went the route of the way Conor accepted defeat when he got against Nate Diaz. So I think, as much as it's very easy to win, but to lose and to still be able to stand in front of the cameras and say things, McGregor shined at that. And he actually won a lot of his haters over when he got beat by Nate Diaz. How he approached the defeat and how he speaks so humbly and congratulated Nate and everything in the cage and spoke. And then he comes back and he's adored now by new people who did hate him for that. And I think Alvarez has done something very similar in the statement he made today. It's a very classy statement, congratulating Conor. And I think Alvarez will be back. I think, like, the lightweight division it's a killer's row. I know we sort of say that about every division, but it is a killer's row. And I think you take out 1 or 2 killers and all of a sudden you're the number 1 guy again, you know. So he can fight his way back up there.
Yeah. Classy boy. Just looking on before we move on, looking on Reddit here. Woodley came out today and said that he wouldn't mind facing Damian Maia at UFC 207. So that's the year-end show, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
the Ronda Rousey show. Who knows if it'll happen? But, you know, just putting it out there. One more thing on McGregor before. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say that'd be pretty cool. You say I want to say one more thing about McGregor, but you go ahead first.
Yeah, just before we move on, one of the other stories coming out was McGregor talking about wanting equity, wanting shares in the company. How likely do we think that is?
I don't know if it's likely, but I definitely think it's deserved.
Yeah.
Conor's fights earn more money than any other fighter, so You know, some people say, oh, well, there was other fighters on that card. It was a great card. But if you take Conor off that card, how much less does it make?
You always look at the main events.
Yeah, so main events sell cards. I definitely think Conor is entitled to a bigger slice of the pie. This is, you know, essentially the monster that you created. So, you know, monsters are hungry. You have to keep feeding them if you want them to be on your side, pretty much. I
don't think they'll give him a percentage of the company. Otherwise, that would just open.
Sorry, Dan, you froze up there.
I think. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What did you say?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they'll give him a percentage of the company or let him buy into the company. However, otherwise that would just open up doors for other fighters going, oh, hold on, we made you this much on pay-per-view, we want to share in this. But I do think they'll give him a good increase of his wages or a bump, whether it be, here's a percentage of pay-per-views we can offer you, here's your purse can go up, etc. I reckon he'll have a lot more in that sense, but I don't think they will agree, especially the new company would agree with him buying a share into the company.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was something in his contract that when he retires from the UFC, he'd get an equity share. While we're talking earlier about Cage Warriors with the thing, is it ethical or is it a conflict of interest? If Conor McGregor had shares in the UFC, it would be, I think it would be a conflict of interest because, you know, basically the UFC he owns part of the company. He's fighting for that company, so it's a little bit strange. You could be getting into Fedor land there,
and
so
that's
maybe he could get some sort of deal that after he finishes with the UFC, he gets some stakes.
And that's why Floyd Mayweather is criticised, because he runs his own promotion, and people say he handpicks his opponents. So there's a good argument there.
I don't think you get it either, but you always start your negotiations really, really high, and then go to wherever you get an agreement. So. And there's that. So we'll just quickly. We'll just quickly.
In fairness, he's a lot of power in the UFC, you know.
Oh yeah, big time. So we'll quickly go through the card coming up this weekend.
No. Before you move on, we'll get the card of this weekend. We're still on about Conor, man. We're on a Conor hype. How crazy is it that in a couple of years' time we'll be talking about someone else? I don't care what anyone says that will dethrone him. You're gonna have someone else, another Conor coming up, whether it be 5, 6, 7, 8 years' time. Could possibly do the same thing. How crazy is that?
Yeah, they could.
That's the evolution of this.
The potential is there, you know, but that's the thing. Conor would be the first man to ever do it in Madison Square Garden, so that will never.
I'm saying that's a lot of pressure on the people coming up to try to meet that. That's their target now. They want to do that.
One amazing feat for the first UFC card.
No matter what, the bar will always go.
Yeah. So UFC Fight Night 99. UFC Fight Night, almost to UFC Fight Night 100. It's up in Belfast over here in Ireland. Anyone going to it? No, we're not going. But we have a card that was a bit ravaged by injury. It's not as good as it used to be. Still some very, very good fights on the card. Some fights on the prelim card that's actually, I think, should be on the main card. But we'll go through.
It was Neil Seery, not on the main card.
Yeah, I don't know. So what we'll do is we'll start at the Neil Seery fight because that's the main event of the prelim card, and go through the card itself. Won't take too much time on it because I think we're already running a little bit over. But we'll start there. So Ian McCall versus Neil Seery. Neil Seery said this is his last fight. Firstly, is it his last fight? And secondly, how do you see the fight going?
I think it's his last fight. I think it has to be. If he said it, he means it, you know, especially if he said it before you fight. Neil seems like the type of person that
once he makes that decision,
exactly.
Probably.
Yeah, so I think he is done, and fair play to Neil. He's had a great career, and he's helped put Irish mixed martial arts on the map, along with many other Irish fighters. And every single fight he's had in the UFC has been extremely competitive. He's never been out of a fight. He's never just been wiped across the mat like some other fighters. He's always been very, very competitive. I love watching a Neil Seery fight, so I'll be sad when he goes because he's actually a fantastic fighter. He has a tough fight ahead of him in Ian McCall, but I definitely think for Neil, it's a winnable fight. I think on the feet, Neil has the better hands. He's a more educated boxer. He's the crisper boxer. He has the better technique. I think Ian McCall's boxing isn't great. We know, I believe it's his left hand. I believe he can't fully close, because of a previous injury. his wrestling obviously would be better, but Neil in scrambles is very, very good in the scramble. So I'm going pure Ireland here, and I'm going for Neil Seery to win. Yeah, I think it's a tough fight, but I definitely think it's winnable, and I hope to God that Neil wins goes out on a win, pretty much. So I'm going with Neil Seery.
Dan?
Yeah, I agree. I hope he does win, but I'm not a big fan of when people go, "Oh, it's my retirement fight," because in my head I'm thinking, "Oh, you don't give a fuck, then win or lose." I know they do. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he does, but it's like that. You kind of like, is he going to come in half-hearted here? Is he going to give, the full attention that it needs, or is it like, okay, you know what? If I do lose, I've lost to Ian McCall, and I've had my last fight on my hometown, home turf, etc. But I think I hope that Neil does that, and I reckon he will outbox him. And it'd be great to. And it's a shame that he's not on the main card, But again, the way the UFC must see, hey, he's the main fight on the prelim, so to speak, to finish the undercard off. But yeah, I hope he does it, and I'm predicting second round he will outbox him. TKO.
Thanks. Do you want me to go now?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This is a tough one because Neil, obviously, he's one of our probably prized possessions, treasures over in Ireland in MMA. So it's tough to pick against him. I'm actually not going to pick against him. I think with I think he's going to put in a big performance. I don't like picking fighters who say they're going to retire, but I also don't think Neil Seery is somebody who would half-heart something. I think, if he knows this is his last one, he's going to put everything into it, like he always does. He'd probably even take some time off work to get a bit more training in, you never know. But I'm going to go with Neil Seery for that exact reason. I think he's more crisp with his boxing. I think he might be able to lure Ian McCall into a boxing match, just like he done with Pickett. But I think, hopefully, for Neil Seery's sake, he won't be taken down as much. I think with this fight, I think Ian McCall, he has some very good wrestling, but he doesn't use it as much as you'd hope to use it. The same with his last fight against big little guy who couldn't make weight at 45, John Lineker. Same with him. He didn't use wrestling as much, got lured into a boxing fight. I think John Lineker is more athletic than Neil Seery, but I do think, hopefully, at least 2 out of 3 rounds, Neil Seery bet to turn this into a boxing match and just outstrike him a little bit. So I'm going to go with Neil Seery to get the win.
I think McCall's going to have, McCall was saying it's a great matchup. He's looking forward to fighting Neil Seery because of the matchup and because of Neil Seery. He knows he comes to fight. I think that'll be Ian McCall's intention. And then he'll be in there for about 2.5 minutes with Neil Seery, and he realises he's out of his depth on his feet, and he'll try and turn it into a wrestling match. But I'm not going to pick against Neil Seery. What Irishman would? But Neil Seery for the win. Farewell. Hopefully he gets the win. Neil's an absolute character. We had him on before. The story he told about running up through the marathon or through the parade just was the 1916 parade. Absolutely phenomenal. He's an absolute character, but he's also an absolute animal of a fighter. His record doesn't do him justice for what he actually is as a fighter. Anyone who's ever fought him will always tell you they've been in a great fight. It's been an absolute honour to watch him fight, both here in Ireland, coming up through Cage Warriors and then making the UFC. An absolute joy to watching him fight. So, Neil, thanks very much for all the great moments in your career. Enjoy your retirement, and I hope Liverpool fuck up the league for you. Absolutely amazing. So hopefully you get the win, and you can sit back and watch the main card, have a few drinks.
Cool. Moving on to the first fight on the main card. This is on Fight Pass, so we actually get to watch it. Artem Lobov versus Teruto Ishihara.
Good fight.
Yeah,
two lads with serious power.
Yep.
Artem obviously fighting out of SBG Ireland, so he'll have a lot of support in the north. Unfortunately for Artem, his UFC career hasn't been, star-studded and knockouts left, right, and centre. Unfortunately for him, but his last fight, he came up against a Diaz protege. For the life of me, I can't remember his name, and that dude just didn't want to fight. So Artem didn't look as good as you'd hope he'd look, but you can only fight what's put in front of you. In Ishihara, he's fighting somebody who is ready to fight, and he's a bit of a crazy person, and that's what I love about him.
He's amazing.
What did he say? He learned to fight so he could get bitches.
Yeah, he doesn't like fighting, just wants the bitches.
Yeah,
like
that's fucking hilarious. What a man. So I think this fight definitely has potential to have fucking fireworks. Both dudes have some serious power in their hands, so it should be very, very exciting. And I think this is pretty much the chin that wins. So whoever has the best chin is going to win this fight, because the two lads are just going to land haymakers on each other and go for broke. I don't think there's going to be too much. I think it'd be technical for the first round, and then second round it'll get a bit mental. So I think for myself, I'm actually going to go with Ishihara, as much as I don't like picking against Artem, because he's basically Irish. He's like Daniel Day-Lewis. He's not Irish, but sure fuck it, we'll take him. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ishihara. I just think Ishihara, is the better fighter. He's a bit more unpredictable, and I think he just has more power in his hands. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ishihara to win via knockout in the third.
Nice.
I'm in agreement with Carl.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. I just think Ishihara is wild. He's a wild man, and he'll land something wild. I think he'll get it done earlier as well. I think potentially you're looking at a first round knockout here for Ishihara. I love Artem. I've met Artem loads. He's a lovely guy. So it feels weird picking against him. I like his style of fighting. He's a brawler, but he's in there with a guy who literally, that whole hands of stone. He does have hands of stone. Yeah. He's an absolute monster. And I just see him catching Artem. Yeah. I'm hoping wrong. I'm wrong. It's one of these picks when you make a pick, you go, sort of hope I'm wrong here. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ishihara first round knockout.
Damn. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't done no homework on this card. I'm gonna go with Artem, just to the fact that he just puts his hands down and he likes coming and swing in and try and look for that knockout. But I am going to pick Artem, and I think second round TKO. But the one thing I would like to question is, was he McGregor's main training partner in this camp, and would it have an effect on him performing for his fight, being the sparring partner for McGregor? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
He's been in hard rounds, or he's been in. Hopefully he hasn't peaked too quick.
And not preparing for his fight, kind of getting someone else prepared.
Yes, exactly. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense.
Complete sense.
Yeah. So, but I'm still going to pick him because I just like his character. Yeah. I've met him a couple of times on Bama, and I think he's a cool dude, and I would like to. I think I'm going to pick him second round TKO.
Yeah, I'm going with Ishihara as well. 3 Irish lads going against Artem. But I do think I'm going against him for the reason that Dan said, that he likes him because he puts his hands down a lot. I just think Ishihara has too much power to do that. I think if Ishihara lands, he's probably going to finish. Now, Artem does have a granite chin, but too many of those shots, he could be down. As well, Artem has had trouble with his gas tank in the past. We've seen that not in his last fight, the fight before. So if it does go into later rounds, I would have Ishihara being able to be the guy who has the bigger gas tank. So I'm going to go for Ishihara to win by finish in the second round. Yep. Good. So up next, Timothy Bronson Johnson versus Alexander Volkov. I don't think that's his nickname, but it should be.
It should be.
It should be, yeah. So who do we have?
I don't know much about either guy, so I'm going to go with the dude with the bald head and epic mustache.
Timothy Johnson.
That's what I'm going for as well.
Yeah, because he looks like Charles Bronson, and I picture him going, shut your fucking mouth! The whole time. So, yeah, I'm going with Bronson.
Cool.
What's his name?
Yeah. Timothy Johnson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dan's agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Dan's agreeing.
Yeah, put me down.
Sweet.
I'm going against you.
Yeah.
This must be the easiest, quickest breakdown ever.
Yeah. I'm going. What's the name, Rob? Volkov? Is it?
Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alexander Volkov. I've seen them both fight, and it's a coin flip fight, really. So I'm just gonna flip the coin and just Volkov, and if I get it right, going fucking told you. Even though I didn't say that.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I'll let Rob do his pick. I just want to quickly put something in there. Go on, Rob.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Volkov as well. Good heavyweight. He fought in Bellator. He lost to Czech Congo. I believe that's his last loss. But he's beat some good guys, and I think he's been in there with better guys than Bronson has been. So I'm going to go with Volkov. I think it's a typical heavyweight fight. I think, you know, it could be boring if it goes long, and it could be exciting if it goes short. So I'm going to go short, and I'll say Volkov finishes him. I'm going to say by a submission, a guillotine choke in the first.
Nice.
I was quickly going to say, isn't it? I don't know. It doesn't feel the same, does it? I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing fighting on a UFC event after the big New York card, like 205. It's like,
yeah, everyone's like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, you know.
Just another fight. You know what I mean? It's
great. No, you're right. It is. It's
carry on. That's what I'm saying.
Now it's trying to pick up the slack until the next big card comes along.
Yeah, remember when you done these? Remember when you done the 3 cards in a row for Vegas, and they had the tough finale, then the Conor 196 Aldo fight, and then they had the one on the Sunday, I believe. Was that the one? Or
I think I know somebody who was at it.
I was at I didn't go to the Sunday one. Oh, that was probably the one before, actually. But it was definitely a Conor fight, and nobody watched the Sunday card. Absolutely nobody. Just fucking just worn out. But next,
in fairness, it's up in Belfast. There hasn't been a UFC in Belfast.
That's it's good. It's good for the it's good for the market. Like,
it's good for people on the ground. It's
exactly,
just internationally.
Yeah, probably won't get. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's on Fight Pass. Up next, Ross Person versus Stevie Ray, and I think this is one of the better fights in the card. In this one, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Ross Person, but just barely over Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray is a very, very good fighter, very good prospect. I just think that Ross Person is going to be able, similar to the Neil Seery fight, turn into a striker match and just be able to win on points, get a decision in a very, very close fight. I see it being really, really exciting, and I think Stevie Ray could go far, but I just think in this one, I think Ross Person is going to be able to get it done. Using his boxing, I love his left hook. I always say it. He has very underrated striking. So I think he's going to be able to turn into a boxing match and just edge him.
Yeah, I agree with Rob. No, last time it was Carl. I'm going around the table here, Rob. Unfortunately, Helen's not here to give me any advice on my picks. No, you're right. Obviously, Pearson being the Englishman, I'm going to pick him. But he is underrated in his boxing, especially staying in that pocket.
Yeah.
When he gets a chance to let them hands go, when he's staying in that striking range and in that pocket, he can do some damage. The only thing that worries me is that Pearson, he's been in some wars and he's taken a lot of fights as well, you know.
Yeah, he seems to fight every week or something. It's weird.
Yeah, something crazy. Yeah. His turnaround is so quick, and he must have something that the UFC like about him, where you know, why he's still there and he's still part of the company. Yeah. And maybe it is that. Maybe it's the fact that he fight anyone, anytime, any place, and he'll put on a good show. He's never been in a boring fight. So yeah, I'm hoping that he'll. I reckon it'll be a decision. And yeah, that's it.
This is his fifth fight in this year so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, two in July.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a quick turnaround one. That was like within the space of like 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8th in the 20th.
Obviously. Well,
yeah.
Fuck.
Someone's getting tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Stevie Ray. I think Pearson at this point has probably a bit too many miles on him. We seen he made a real run in the I believe that's the lightweight division. Yeah, he made a real run in the lightweight division, and he got pretty far up the rankings. But he just got to a certain point where he couldn't get any further. Yeah. And since then, every performance from him has been a little bit less, a little bit less, and a little bit less again. So I think the clock is ticking for Ross here, and I think Stevie Ray is going to try make a go at the lightweight division. He's 19-6. He's a good record. Okay, he's fighting out the UK as well. So, but I just think Ross is on the downslide, and Stevie Ray has more of a career ahead of him. He hasn't taken as much damage as Ross has. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Stevie Ray to win. I'd say it'll be a decision in the end. So,
literally, word for word what Carl just said.
Copy and paste.
Like, I just think Pearson, we're saying, wow, 5 fights this year. He's been in a lot of fights. He's got a lot of shots. I like Pearson when he lands, but he just his shots just, I watch a win by knockout, me saying this, his shots just don't seem to carry the venom they used to. And he just doesn't look like he can take the damage the way he used to. And I just think exactly what Carl said. Pearson's just slowly going that way. And Ray is the big chance going up. And I just think Ray will get the victory. So basically what Carl said, easiest way. And I'm going to go with decision as well. Because Pearson, as much as he ships punishment, he's a fucker to finish.
Yeah, he's very hard to finish.
Yeah.
Very hard to finish.
Yeah.
I'll go with Ray, decision as well.
Cool. I have that down for you. Awesome.
So moving on to the main event, the de facto main event. It was supposed to be Gunnar Nelson versus Dong Hyun Kim. That fell out. Gunnar Nelson got injured, and we have the rematch: Gegard Mousasi versus Uriah Hall. The first fight, Uriah Hall beat Gegard Mousasi by a second round finish, I believe. Is that right?
I believe so.
Second, yeah.
Yeah.
In a fight that Mousasi was winning, but got caught and got finished. So, who do we have?
I'll go first. I'm going to
Mousasi.
go.
Mousasi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here
go
we go. You want my breakdown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say Mousasi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on in.
Mousasi. I don't need to say anymore.
I think pretty much everybody's feeling the same.
He wants revenge, and Uriah Hall is going to be his bitch on Saturday night.
Jesus.
And he's going to get revenge, and he's going to hurt him early, and he's going to clatter for him.
Fair enough.
I think, to be fair, we're mixed martial arts fans and we like to do breakdowns, so we have to talk about the actual fight. Unfortunately, no. Sorry. It's getting late.
Quickly.
Yeah. If the right mindset and killer Uriah Hall turns up, then it could be a long night for Mousasi.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We know with Uriah Hall, he's extremely explosive, he's extremely fast. He's kind of like a middleweight version of Tyron Woodley with kicks, pretty much. But I just think poor Uriah, he's come through so much adversity in his career. If people are saying he was too nice, he tried to get mean, didn't quite work out. He's been a bit all over the shop, unfortunately. I just think Mousasi, at this point in his career, with fighters not being allowed to use steroids and cleaner testing pools and all this sort of stuff, I just think Mousasi is a better fighter all round. I think I think the first time was a fluke. I think Uriah Hall just set up the finish very well last time, and he caught Mousasi. Yeah. This time I think Mousasi will be a bit more wide to that, and I think we've seen Mousasi in his last fight. He was out to murder his opponent. So I think Mousasi has kind of turned the corner in his career, and he's trying to make a run at the middleweight title. So I'm gonna myself. Yeah. I think all the lads here agree with me that we're all going with Mousasi in this fight.
Yeah, Mousasi.
Correct.
Yeah,
and I can see Mousasi giving the old.
Yeah. Giving him a finger.
Yeah, something like that.
I just think as well something that Mousasi's in Europe, he's in Holland.
Yeah.
So coming across to Belfast ain't a big thing. Uriah Hall's coming over from the States. Not a big thing when you're here a couple of days beforehand. But I just think Mousasi, just something's triggered, almost like with that Uriah Hall defeat.
Yeah.
It's almost put a spark in him. He was winning that fight, he got caught and he got put out. And since then, Mousasi has looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement. Yeah, Mousasi wins. I don't think, as you said, I don't think the first one was a fluke, but I just think he got caught. I don't think he's going to get caught this time. I think it's going to be and
it's MMA. Any predictions we're given tonight could totally go a different way. So who knows?
So before we just finish up, I don't know if you have the card up there, but is there any fights on the undercard that you can think of?
Charlie Ward right now at SBG making his debut.
Yeah,
I've had the honour of calling Charlie to the cage a good few times as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Charlie on the big stage. A lot of people are saying it's too early. You could argue the point, he's 2-1 in his professional career, but Charlie Ward is an absolute monster, and he is a hard fight for whoever he fights. He's a beast.
Yeah.
And again, get behind the Irish Charlie Ward fighting Saturday night. Gets
at the same time.
I'm going Justin Ledet, Mark Godbeer.
Oh,
yeah. Mark Godbeer's on the card.
Forgot he's on that card.
Yeah, so that again, Godbeer coming out from Bama, Dan and Noel, you'd know Godbeer very well. I suppose Dan, you've watched him a lot.
Refereed him?
Yeah, you've refereed him a lot. So
I don't think I've refereed him.
No, have you not? No.
I took his banner belt off him.
Yeah.
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 Nah,
I did.
do you know what? Just
Talk
quickly,
about
I'm gonna. Yeah, I know you had your headset. I'm gonna go with God Beer as well.
Mm.
On the reason that it was only over a year ago. He was talking about retirement, and the whole Bellator thing fell through. Whether the deal was there, then then he gets a phone call from UFC, and he signs up with the UFC. So fair play to him, and I hope this is his time to shine. And yeah, go. Make a run for it.
Yeah, just a couple
At
more.
the title, that
We
is.
won't even talk about them that much, but there's some good fights. There's Zach Cummins against Alexander Yankolov. Kevin Lee fights Mustasev. I'm not sure who he is. And probably the best fight on the undercard, apart from the Neil Seery fight, will be Horiguchi against Bagatinov. That's a very good fight and a big fight in the flyweight division. So, so that's it. Noel, you can wrap it up because I'll forget who we have to thank.
Is it? But hold on, quickly. There's UFC Brazil on as well. You guys forgot, but we'll break that down on paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. We hear the fucking.
I totally remember that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Movahedi, thank you very much. It's great to have you back. Your beautiful
Likewise,
face and
thank
style.
you.
Your voice of velvet. Rob, the house looks great.
Not bad, yeah.
So yeah, we'd like to thank, as usual, MMA Mix for all your MMA needs. They're obviously good because
we're obviously
Fight Talk. Boom.
This is great. This is catching on. Fight Star Ireland for all your fighters' needs in one place. It's the fighter's choice. So if you're looking for the jock straps or the shin guards, check them out.
Especially the jock straps.
Thank you to the Whiskey Fair for housing us.
Yeah.
For the time we spent with them. Check us out on Twitter at @talk_fight, on Facebook at the obviously Fight Talk, Instagram obviously Fight Talk too. Plenty of content there. So lads, say your good night.
Good night.
See you later, gents. Good night.
Cheers.
Yeah, awesome. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you to Conor McGregor for being the fucking legend he is. And I want to apologise because. No, I'm not apologising. Fuck off. Good night. Peace.
Take care, gents.
Cheers.